happy to share this moment with you. And today I'd like to address an ego construct that I personally see in a lot of people who are interested in spirituality, including myself. Before we get to that, as usual, I'd like for us to become present first. In case you haven't already, get into a comfortable position that you can rest in for a while. And once that's done, just calm down. Breathe out, and now breathe in deeply. Hold it, and then let it flow out. Do this at your own terms for a few times if you wish, and then enjoy the silence and the space. Just be here, now. No need to be lost in thought about the past or in projections onto the future. Just share this moment with me. Notice how your body has calmed down, how your breath Perhaps you have a bit of a busy mind, and that's okay. Just get back into this moment as soon as you've become conscious of you currently being lost in thought. But no need to feel bad about it. Just be here. In case you regularly catch yourself being lost in thought and you struggle to be present, perhaps it helps to focus your attention on something. You're then not completely free of any not distractions, you could say, but rather pay attention to the breath or the environment around you by just observing it without giving it any thought or judgment that results from thought. Just observe. Now perhaps by now you've become centered, present, here and now. And what many of you perhaps may encounter is all the things that your mind is telling you in situations like these, for example. Don't let your mind trick you into imagining that you're currently going really deep and that you're perceiving all kinds of funky, deeply spiritual things. It's a string of thoughts and it drifts you away from reality. Oftentimes we meditate with the hope of achieving something profound, like, for example, enlightenment or other perhaps transcendental experiences, and it makes us impatient when it comes to our own spiritual progress, you could say. But it is exactly that mind-based expectation and the attempt to force getting out of the mind that keeps us from being present in the first place, which is what it's all about after all. So if you ask me, I think it's vital to have a different perspective on meditation. Don't go at it with an expectation on what you want to achieve. Much rather rest in being and accept the moment as it is, no matter what it's like. That's how it is, right here and right now. Moments like these, where perhaps we feel quite centered, bear the risk of our mind telling us how good of a meditator we each are. I mean, look at that great posture, the slow breath, and apparently silent mind. We've come quite a way as meditators, and we're oh so spiritual. I think you get what I'm trying to get to with this. There's a big ego construct, a spiritual ego, so to say, that you see in so many people that are interested in this topic, in spirituality, you could say. So we're working on getting out of the mind. The mind has simply created an ego construct in which we successfully work on getting rid of the mind. So we're kind of trapped in a simulation, you could say. At least that's the subjective way that I perceive it. Like just about any other ego construct, this one comes with, perhaps, it might not be the case for you, but it's what I've witnessed in my environment, including myself. It comes with character traits and basically a subconscious idea of how you're supposed to carry yourself. And don't get me wrong, I don't mean to shame anyone by saying that. I simply want to invite you to here and there observe yourself during everyday life and ask yourself, is this really who and how I am? Again, is this really who and how I am? By doing this, bit by bit, you shine the light of your conscious awareness onto the shadow of your subconscious patterns and bring them to the surface where they can no longer manipulate you. Me talking to you about this might help you in pursuing this mission, but it's not that easy to get rid of such patterns. As I've mentioned in the beginning, at times I, too, fall into this spiritual ego. For example, when people ask me for my opinion on, you could say, spiritual topics, and I start talking about those topics, it makes me feel competent about what I am saying, and I need to be cautious not to let my arrogance trick me into thinking that I remotely have a fact-based understanding of our place in this universe and beyond. Because if I were to think so, I'd have quite a way to go. Which I do either way. But don't fall for that. The moment where in such abstract topics that we encounter in spirituality, the moment when you think you've got the answer, and you don't need to be open for any other suggestions, because this, what you've just heard, or what has come to your mind, just fits conveniently into your view of the world, into the blank space that you've had, or the space that you make for this aspect of reality, or your perception of reality. Just because that's convenient for you doesn't mean it's true. We, or at least I, from my perspective, can say that here and there come up with theories that sound plausible, that would be harmonious with various spiritual teachings or somewhat practical experiences. But still, that doesn't make it an ultimate reality, at least not that we can surely say it is. So we need to be cautious with that in order for us not to trick ourselves into believing something that perhaps is completely wrong, but also others. Because when we tell somebody something, and I, who now make these videos, need to be cautious about that too. When I say something, I do want you to know that I don't claim to be an expert. Absolutely not. I just have this passion for this topic. I've read into this a lot, but oh boy, I have still a long way to go. And I don't think that in this lifetime I'll be able to remotely, how to say, really understand this world. I don't know. I don't think so. But I'm curious, and I really enjoy this topic, dealing with this. So, being identified with such a construct, or thinking that you know the ultimate reality, would really not do me a favor. I might think, and I might have the thought that I know reality and how it works, and that might give me a good feeling. But ultimately, at some point in time, I might figure out that it was just an illusion, and that my limited mind is not remotely able to grasp the infinite immensity of the universe. But who knows? Who am I to say that I know that I'll never find out? That's quite subjective too. So here I am, conscious of this pattern, this ego construct, yet still falling for it at times. How can that be? It takes a while and a few attempts to become conscious enough of patterns like these in order for us to not fall for them anymore. I, for example, don't identify myself with such illusions as frequently as I used to, as intensely as I used to. But I still have some learning to do, and I still have some deconditioning to do. Deconditioning from perceptions that I basically labeled as reality and dealt with. So just because you become aware of something doesn't mean the issue is immediately gone. But it helps. And you do it over and over and over again. That you get yourself out of being identified with such illusions. And bit by bit, you walk through life less with a view from the mind, and much rather you look from the heart. You're present. So I tell myself that that's fine. I don't get angry at myself for it, for being lost in an ego construct. But I do try to steer in what I consider being the right direction. So when the awareness of you being lost in the illusion comes up, try to observe it without passing judgment on yourself. And pull yourself out of this identification with the mind by no longer pursuing the traits that ego construct brings with it, and that you'd not want to act out if you were centered in the heart. So this kind of goes back to the question that we can ask ourselves. Is this really who and how I am? If from a centered perspective, or if I were centered, and I were to look at myself right now, would I say, yeah, that's me. That's just how I am? Or would I say, I was kind of caught in an illusion again. Well, and if you think that the latter is the case, get out of there. Get out of this illusion by becoming present, and that's basically all you need to do to get out of there. Be present and observe. I hope this session has been of value to you, and if so, I'd be happy to have you around here on my channel. Either way, take care.